Um, yeah, like the two things that make me sleep really fast is if I'm really tired and I didn't take any naps prior
Mm-hmm.
during the day,
Yeah.
or if I have like workout at night, like right before I sleep. Like I have a decent workout, a full workout. Those are the best.
The
Like I did,
worst. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I did that Tuesday night because for my ACT, I only slept for 3 hours because I was so anxious.
Oh,
I like fell asleep at like 3 a.m. I'm like, oh God, look, what have I done?
the worst is when
So
the
yeah,
worst is like when you've done like a lot of things to make you tired, but you still can't sleep at night. So the next morning you're just like dead on the inside because you didn't rest that the night before.
mm-mm.
Yep.
Like the second thing that's closest to being like that, it's like when you have like a good amount of sleep, like say 9 hours, but it's not good sleep. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you don't go into REM. You're just like laying down there with your eyes closed and like you feel like you're sleeping, but then when you wake up, you're still super tired.
Oh, that just me like not sleeping at all. Like that's the closest I've ever felt to that. So,
Mm-mm.
speaking of not sleeping, welcome to Pause Menu Podcast, episode 11.
Mhm.
This is another themed episode we decided, and we're gonna make this a college themed episode. So to kind of give you guys a rough idea, Rap over here, our one of our hosts, is basically gonna be going to college next year, right? Maybe earlier. I don't know. If you graduate early, that's a possibility.
No, I'm good.
I've seen some people graduate early, but I just remember that now. Like there were like some people in my class that like graduated high school. I think like a semester or even like a year early, and I never really stopped to consider like, oh, like I wonder what happened to those people. Like I wonder, how they were in college. Being like a 17-year-old basically in college, right?
hmm Bro,
Uh,
I got a story for you. So I was in my freshman year, and then this we there was talks about this kid who's like super advanced, right?
mhm.
So I'm in my business and technology class. I'm sitting there, doing my typing pal type thing, which was one of the requirements for the class. And the dude sitting next to me was that kid. So we'll call him, um,
Smarty pants. I don't know.
yes, we'll call him Smarty Pants.
Smarty pants. Okay.
So Smarty Pants, um, just for reference, my brother is 14 as of right now. So in fresh, like say what, how many years? 3 years ago? 11. Here I am, a 15-year-old in high school, freshman year, sitting next to probably one of the smartest people I've ever met, who is 3 years, no, 4 years younger than me,
Mhm.
right? So he's in seventh, technically a seventh grader, maybe sixth, and he's in freshman year of high school, and I'm like, what the shit?
Really?
Um, and just to get it out there for the stereotypeness about this is that his race is Chinese.
Oh my god. Why did you didn't have to mention that part?
It's just for the context, okay? So basically, I won't say too much because he has told me why, he's super advanced, but
Yeah.
so he's going throughout the years, and it's not that like like he's definitely more advanced for his age, but he wasn't smarter than like me or like the average in our grade, right?
Yeah.
He was like just below, like he was passing with B's and sometimes C's, right? But it's enough to pass. So get this too, junior year last year, he is 15, supposedly a freshman but a junior. He graduates.
What?
He graduates high school,
At 15?
and though yeah, I found this out like it was the last day of last year. Um, During quarantine, we were returning all of our books and materials and stuff, and they give us a newspaper. And I'm like reading through. It's like I recognize the name in a picture. I'm like, wait, I know this kid. And I'm like, it says 15-year-old student graduates, and I'm like, holy shit, he's insane. He's cracked.
I can't believe this
And
guy went to college at 15 years old. Like,
yeah, and
dang,
what's even
bro.
more surprising, he's not even old enough to have a driver's permit yet. A permit, not a license, a
Yeah.
permit.
Well, okay, like that's not. I mean, personally for me, like that's not as crazy because, There are people in college who don't have their driver's license. Like it's not a it's not, I mean it's definitely not common, but it's not it's like when you go to college you start seeing people from like different walks of life, and some people just don't have their license yet. So I feel like it's
That's
not.
true.
Yeah, it's so. I mean, for me personally, that part it's like okay, like it's not that surprising. The what is surprising though is a 15-year-old being in college. That is definitely
Yeah,
rare.
and like
Is he still gonna go
I
to
w
his prom? Like he kind of missed out on like a lot of
he
things.
hasn't went to prom ever.
I mean, is he still gonna go back? He technically kind of can, right? You know, if someone like,
Well, he's graduated, so I don't know. I don't know any of the like specifications, but
well,
I just feel so bad for him because knowing what I know and what he's told, like everyone, like us, the classes, it's like, man, I would not want to be in his position. It'd be cool if I can graduate early. Like it'd be cool if I was that, advanced and willing to do so.
yeah.
But under his circumstances, I definitely no. I am good. That was amazing. Main reason why I said earlier why I don't want to graduate early because it's like he went through a lot, like a lot of workload. His workload is heavy,
Mm,
and he's like 3 years younger than all of us.
yeah.
So
I mean, at some point you gotta live your life, you know. Like that's not,
yeah,
yeah.
too
Like
bad that he
schools,
couldn't
yeah.
really.
School's not the life, you know. I mean, even if you're a teacher, school isn't like just the life. You know what I mean? But as far as like bringing people from that have already graduated to like prom or homecoming, you can if they're like, well, when I was there, right? You can, but they got to be like under 21 because obviously like if they're 21, uh,
there would be a problem there,
yeah.
sir. I'll tell you that
Not
much.
not not that that's gonna stop people from like drinking, but like, you know, just in case, I guess. But anyways, you got the icebreaker for this week.
Yeah. So, this is basing it off of what our last podcast was the Would You Rather, but this one is a twist. Some of you may have seen this in probably YouTube videos. I got this from Markiplier and Jacksepticeye. Um, so segment, not segment, this like website is called "Will You Press the Button?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, there's a red button on your screen, like on your laptop, whatever, and it gives you two prompts. So, for instance, like here, I'm just gonna ask you this right now. So, will you press the button? The button saves your best friend's life. So assume that this is under the circumstances of this button. There's no like if, ands, or buts. Like this
Okay.
is just straight what this is about, okay?
Okay.
So will you save your best friend's life if you push the button? But if you do push the button, you kill five random strangers in your area.
In my area,
In your area, yes.
I mean, like, is my best friend in danger right now?
Under the circumstances, yes.
And
You
this,
save your best friend's life.
so we're assuming that if I don't press this button, he'd like this person dies, right?
Yes.
Ooh, I'll go. See, like, this is kind of like that one choice. I don't know if you ever played Infamous, the first one. Spoilers,
Yes, I
like,
have.
yeah, spoilers, I guess, for those of you who haven't played it. So okay, I'm gonna give my answer. I'm gonna press the button. I'm so sorry for those five random strangers, but I'm gonna press the button. Um, it's a little selfish of me, but like what I was thinking through this is that it's very similar to that one choice in Infamous where the main character has the choice of either saving the woman that he loves or saving five doctors that could potentially save more lives, right? And in a city that really needs the doctors. So if you save,
I remember that. Yeah.
yeah, if you save the doctors, the woman that you love will basically say like, oh, like you did the right choice. I am proud of you. I've forgiven you for the past. Blah blah blah. But if you save her instead, she'll condemn you, and she'll die anyways. So like it was the right choice to save the at that time it was the right choice to save the doctors. It's a very similar situation with this one, but it's there's no like imminent danger. I think to those five random strangers, and it's not like they're doctors and whatnot, right? Um, but I mean, I chose to save my best friend because it's like, well, I mean, someone's gonna end up like like passing away anyways, right? At least this time I get to control who passes and who doesn't. It's very unfair to those strangers, but at the same time, it's like, you know, will you protect your family? Of course, I'm gonna protect my family. I'm gonna protect my friends. You know, I'll protect my best friend. That kind of stuff. If that person's life is in danger. So yeah, I'm so
Yeah,
sorry to those
I
five
agree.
strangers. Nothing
Same.
against you. Nothing against you, but you
Hey, they're
know,
strangers, man. It is what it is. What's cool about this too, this website, is that it gives you like a poll of like how many people pressed the button and did not,
okay.
right? So, out of the total people, which is about 80,000, 64% did press the button. So they did choose to save their best friend's life, while 36% did not.
I see.
Interesting, right? So this is why I like the website because like, okay, you can see what other people are thinking. So for instance, this one's boring. Hold on, let me scroll through here. So for the next one, another tough one, a really deep one. Okay, so if you push this button, all nukes are erased from existence, and everyone forgets how to make them.
Okay.
But if you press this button, you and a loved one of yours, of your choice, dies.
Ooh. Can I talk to this person beforehand?
Um, I mean, all it says is you choose who dies. So yeah, I guess
So
you
so
can.
so me and this person will die if I push this button. And by loved one, they don't mean like a romantic partner, right? They could mean any loved one, right? Like I
Mm-mm.
can. No, it
Any
has
loved one, yeah.
any loved one. Okay, yeah, I'd push the button.
All right. Oh wow. Okay. So out of the again 80,000 people seemingly, 34 only 34% chose to push the button with you.
So everyone else just kind of like kept
66% did not.
did not. I mean, like at that
Yeah.
point, like if you have the because nukes are like basically. Mm, because okay, so my thought process is that nukes are basically like potential things that could wipe off people from the face of the planet, right? Like so I figured that if we can get rid of something so dangerous, um, well, actually, I take it back. I'm not gonna push the button because my thought process is that even if like nukes are erased, people will still find a way to essentially um, what's it called
Create create
to
a weapon of mass destruction.
yeah to create a WMD. So it doesn't matter like what we do to prevent one bad thing, more bad things will pop up in the future, right? And even like right now we have like nukes for the most part under control. 2020, please don't jinx that shit.
I was
Um,
like, what are you doing?
but I mean, so like unless nukes are like a prevalent danger to the world, then I'm not gonna press it. Now, if it was like stop global warming or stop world hunger or cure corona, maybe not cure corona, but I mean, like don't get me wrong, I want cure corona to be gone, but like that's probably on the way. Um, unless it's something that like it would really benefit like a lot of people in a more direct fashion, I think I would just not press the button in a sense. But
Hmm.
let's move on to the main topic though.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm down. I will leave the website below for those who want to check out this little fun thing. So,
Yeah. So this week's topic is college, right? And the reason why I decided to pick this topic is because one, like I mentioned earlier, rap is about to go to college next year, and two, I am someone who's already gone through the college experience. Rap is muted, but I'm gonna keep on talking just in case.
I was
Um,
coughing.
oh, so I think it'd be really cool to kind of sort of have like this interview kind of session just to get the perspectives of essentially two people who are in like different sort of like spectrums of college. One who has already done it, and one who's about to do it, and just kind of like talk about what are some things that people can expect when going through the process, of getting to college as well as the actual college experience itself. Um, I don't know. I just think it would be like a really interesting like different point of view and what we can learn from that.
Hmm.
So with that said, I want to move on. I want to move to my first question, and that is, it's a three-part question, right? So, what are you
Okay.
most excited for when attending college or when going to college? What are you least excited for, and what are you the most afraid of?
Mm, okay. I'll answer the first one, obviously. Um, the thing I'm most excited for college is mainly just the amount of free time I'll get. Um,
Mm,
at least personally, like obviously, I'm going to college, so I'll figure it out myself. But
yeah.
uh, like just hearing what people say, like in comparison to college and high school, is that you get a lot of free time. Like some people even say that it's kind of easier, at least for their freshman year of college, because they just have so much time that all you have to do is study for like a couple of hours every day, and then they're set for class. And I'm like, wow, that sounds amazing. Not having like 8 classes
Mm-hmm.
in one day, or not one day, in the span of 2 days, getting a ton of work. That sounds great. And you're not pressured to like, I mean, obviously you're pressured depending on your like the profession you choose to go into to maintain a certain like percentage of grade, right?
Yeah.
But in high school, it's like you need to do good. This is what's going to help you get into college. But in college, it's like you just need to maintain, at least for nursing, 77 and above. Like, wow, that's a breeze, bro. For at least for me, I think it would be a breeze. So I'm excited for that. Like just having a bunch of free time, I can focus more on my channel. Um, I can go to the gym more. I could possibly have a job so I can earn some freaking money. Just yeah, free time.
So, what are you least excited for, though?
Um, so probably the work.
The work.
I guess the education
That
aspect of it.
that's what
Like,
you're most least excited for in college. What you're actually gonna be going for.
yeah, you see, okay, so here's my logic, okay? So at least for me, um, I know that I'm going to work hard regardless whether I find the topic boring. I'm going into nursing, so I'll be studying like anatomy, microbiology, um, possibly kinesthesiology, stuff like that. So at least I know that the grind for it, as much as it's going to help me with my job, I am not going to enjoy it. Um,
Yeah.
just with high school and how it's went, every class I've done good in, which is most of my classes, um, I've only enjoyed it if it's something like I like. So like AP psychology or any of the history classes, those I like. But if
Mm-hmm.
it's for math isn't too bad. But math, English, um, currently right now AP stats for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I know I'm gonna do good, but I'm not gonna enjoy the work behind it. Like I personally do not like studying if I can just grasp the like the main concept and just work around it, like figure out how all these things work, right? Um, obviously, if I'm going to be a nurse, I need to know as much as possible, at least to get by, right? So, yeah, it's just like I've been studying for how many years now? Almost 12 years, and I don't want to do this for much longer, so that's why I choose nursing.
Yeah. Damn. I wish I could just like grasp a topic like right then and there. Are you kidding me? Like high school and college would have been so much easier if I was able to do that. Uh
See,
uh
I figured it out like halfway the sophomore year, right? I was like, okay, so that like this is another topic in and of itself, but it's like the AP World History taught me how to just like pick and choose information what I seem is important. So like picking apart the main idea. Because for history class, there's a lot of like major events and micro events. So it's like,
yeah.
okay. So after that, like in each class that I ever had, my little trick is I just pay attention at the start of every major unit. I pay attention, and usually the teachers give an outline of the rest of the unit, so I'm just looking at it. Okay, I'll try and listen for this. I'll try and listen for this. I'll listen for this. And after I grab that topic, I can just kind of go off on my own and learn by myself. Um, because I do most of my learning, like my best learning by myself. So after I mastered that skill, I just kind of reapplied it to all my classes. So it was like, hey man, this isn't so bad. So it just became easier and easier for me to just grasp a topic almost instantly. So,
I see. What are you most afraid of when going to college though?
uh, what am I most afraid of?
Yeah, if you are afraid of anything to go to college.
Probably probably just being social. Uh,
Being social. Why do you say that?
so I mean, I don't really find myself to be an introvert, but sometimes I can be like, what's the word? Extrovertedly introverted, if that's the right phrasing.
Yeah.
So I'm a very open guy. I'm very I feel like I'm very approachable. I can talk to anyone. Um, I'm very open-minded, but it's only because I've known like these people, my classmates, for like forever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially with my close friends, like um like man, these guys are like my brothers, so I can easily talk to them. But then going to a different place where we're most likely not going to see each other for much, very much, it's like, okay, how do I talk to people,
Oh, how do you
right?
meet?
How, how do I make new friends? I've been stuck within this like small group of people, like this small community for my whole life,
Yeah.
essentially. So I don't.
Mm.
How do I restart?
How do you
Is what I'm
restart?
saying.
Yeah, I see what you mean by that. Yeah, that's a very that's understandable when it comes to like that experience. So to kind of like respond to like some of the things that you said for this question,
Yeah.
first one is that like the notion that you have so much time. That is simultaneously true and false at the same time. It's
Oh.
true that you have a lot of time, a lot of free time in a sense, because when you go to college, you're not going to be taking like 8 classes per day. If you're taking 8 classes per day, you're not going to make it. That's just like how it's going to go. You're usually taking like maybe 3 or 4 classes, sometimes five, I think, per day. And even then, like if you're taking a lot of classes per day, that usually means that you have less of a load of classes on the day after, or maybe no class at all, right? So depending on your schedule, depending on what's best for you, you might have a schedule where you'll have like one day where you just don't have any class at all, or you just have one class, and you would realistically only need to go to school for like an hour, and that will be it, right? So you do have a lot of free time in that sense of you can basically do what outside of classes you can basically do like whatever you want for the rest of the day. On the other hand, you kind of don't have that free time because most people, or at least like from my perspective, right? Like the proper way to really spend that time is either doing clubs and activities or studying. Like either doing some sort of like extracurricular activity or studying. So for example, if I'm going to school for only an hour, I, I'm I'm probably not gonna be only there for an hour unless I have like a job or like an internship like afterwards. What I'll probably end up doing is I'll be in my class, and then I'll go to whatever that job and internship is. You know, if that's right away, and you know in between that and going home, I'm probably gonna end up just staying at school and just working on my homework there and just studying there because I can keep on focusing on the actual stuff instead of like going home. You know what I mean? So I remember like when I was at my university, I wouldn't go home, and some days I wouldn't go home until like 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and I would basically spend like the entire day at school and at my job, basically. Um, so that's kind of like that's something to think about. Like you do have the free time to spend whatever you want, but you kind of don't because you need to spend that time wisely. You know, like you don't like don't do what I did when I was a freshman year. I was like, oh yeah, you know, anatomy is over. There's an hour break between this class and another. I'm just gonna watch YouTube videos for the next hour. Like, no, I should have been like studying or doing homework like during that hour. Like, no, don't do that. Just because you're not required to do something doesn't mean
You
you
shouldn't do
should.
it.
Yeah, you shouldn't do it. That's my main goal with that. That's my main point basically. You said you're least excited for the grind to actually like get through college. That's what you got to do. Like you just got to go through the grind, and
Hmm.
it's not uncommon for quote unquote senioritis to persist even after your senior year of high school. You know, it's like it's hard to keep on studying, especially in college when you now you have this temptation of like having a lot of free time. You know, there's probably gonna be bars in your college and whatnot. Um, but I mean, like if you know if you're really serious about like what you're what you're gonna go for, you have no choice but to grind. Like, eventually, one way or another, you're gonna have to grind for homework and tests and quizzes and whatnot. Like, college is a very, expensive, but also at the same time important, like, aspect of your life. And if you're going there, you should, focus on you should you should focus on, like, really trying to get the stuff that you need to do done. But at the same time, don't just do that. Like, you should also give yourself a break. You like you said, you don't want to burn out when it comes to studying. Like,
Yeah.
you want to take it easy at times. You're most afraid of socializing. I'm actually going to talk about that later,
Okay.
so I'll answer that question later. And instead, move on to the next topic, or to the next portion of this, and that is
Mhm.
deciding a college to go to. So the first question that I have for this one is, for you, what is the most important part about deciding, or what is the most important aspect to you about deciding what college to attend? So, like, if you were to, like, basically, like, list all the colleges and, like, what are the pros and cons of each one, what factor, or, like, what aspect about, like, a university or a college setting, or like anything in general, right? What is the most important deciding factor of, like, okay, this is the college or this is the university that I want to go to?
Okay. Um, okay, so for me, the most important, uh, let's say factor for going to college is just how much aid I'm gonna get. Um, because like I said before, I'm going into nursing, and the after college pricing, like the debt left over from loans, it's not gonna be a lot, but it's still substantial enough where I'm gonna have to spend like 2 or 3 years paying it off, right?
Yeah.
So the main goal for me is to get to apply to a bunch of schools. Like right now, I'm applying to 9-ish, and hopefully get accepted to like most of them. Most of the ones I'm applying to is generally like not a reach school. Some of them are safeties, but then like a good lot of them are just matches, is what it's called. So if I can get like about 50% or more, like tuition paid off, that is like golden for me, because I know with the job I'm going into nursing is that I will always have a place to work. I will always have a job. In the medical field, people will always be sick, people will always be injured, and always going to need someone to take care for them. Um, so that is basically the main factor that plays in to where I want to go. Is just how much aid am I going to get? If I get a full ride to somewhere, it's a no-brainer. I'm going there. It doesn't really matter how good the education is or not. My belief is that we all start at the same place. Yes, I think of it as like a boost, some sort of a small boost where you go to, like, say if you go to Harvard, you're most likely gonna get the job over me, who probably goes to, like, I don't know, some local college, right? But we
Yeah.
all start at the same place, and if I just grind hard enough, I could possibly get to where others are at, or even surpass them.
Hmm. So basically, like, finance is, like, the biggest most important aspect of going to college, or of, like, which college you want to go to. Not
Yeah.
location, not, like,
Mm-mm.
I guess,
Nope.
prestige of the college, right?
No, I don't really believe that. I mean, yes, you might get a better education by going to a more prestigious college, but it's not worth personally to me. It's not worth going into more debt.
Hmm. I see. What's it called? That's actually interesting that you say that. Because to my understanding, I used to be a nursing major, right? To my
Hmm.
understanding, it doesn't actually matter where you go for nursing. It doesn't matter if you go to a college or a university. I mean, well, it sort of does. It doesn't really matter in terms of, like, credentials, but it does kind of matter in terms of education, because some colleges will teach you stuff better than other colleges. So you might get a better education, like, at X university over at Y university, right? But for the most part, in terms of credentials, they generally don't. To my understanding, they generally don't care where you go in terms of college setting. But yeah, like, finance is, like, a really big one.
Hmm.
One of the things that I did was I took a scholarship at a local community college that allowed me to go for a free ride to there for essentially like the 2 years that I'll be there, as long as I keep up my GPA. Unfortunately, I couldn't keep
Yeah.
my GPA, and I have other gripes about that whole process, which I'm not gonna go through this video. But I didn't get to keep my GPA, but I still got a free ride for my essentially my first semester of college, which is still pretty nice. You know, a free semester is a free semester, and you'll take it. You know, it's
Of course.
disappointing that I couldn't do like the other like 1.5, but I'll take a free semester over anything else, right? But part of me thinks like, yeah, it's really nice that I got there, but at the same time, I also got accepted to an actual like university before I attended before attending college. So part of me is like, well, what if I just accepted like that university offer instead of going to a community college? Because obviously, like the life in a community college is going to be different from the life that you can have in university. It's going to be like similar topics that you're going to learn, but the actual life itself is going to probably flow differently, you know. So um, that's good that you say that because that is a big part of why people decide to go to college. I was thinking like along lines more like location, like are you the kind of person that would commute to college, or do you mind dorming slash apartments? Do you, I guess, like program as well? Like what colleges like offer what program? I mean, that's kind
Hmm.
of a no brainer. Like you shouldn't go to a college where the the, the program like where you're going for isn't gonna be there, unless you're undecided. In which case, then you know, I guess any college is fine. Um, things like requirements as well. Like for some colleges, you might get like better scholarships with lower requirements in a sense. Like some colleges require you to have like a 3.5 GPA in high school. Others only require you to like have a 3.0. I don't know the exact numbers, but
Yeah,
those
there's
are
somewhere along those lines.
yeah. So like those are like very important things to consider as well. AP classes too. Like some colleges accept certain credits, others don't. Like some college might say like, oh yeah, we'll take your AP, let's say U.S. history credit, and you won't have to take history 101. Um, Other colleges are like, no, we won't take that. Like it's not like other colleges are like you need like a 4 or 5 over for us to really accept that in a sense.
Hmm.
So for that matter, here's one interesting factor. Does student diversity matter to you? I guess not just in terms of like picking a college, but like, would you prefer to attend a college that is more diverse in its student population, or does it not matter for you?
Ideally, yes. Um, so me and Itoy basically went to the same high school and grew up in the same community of high school students.
Mm-hmm.
And to say the least, they are not that it's well, at least we're here. It's a little a problem, but from the grand scope of things, uh, the population is majority white. Okay, so you get a lot of at least with my current generation of classmates, a lot of biased um, perceptions. A lot of people who think the same way, who dress the same way, have the same ideals, have the same goals in life, and and are very stereotypical. Like they follow the path laid out for them. And um, I want to be able to go to a community where I am at the very least have some sort of culture shock.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been so used to this community, and it's just I've grown to dislike it heavily. I won't say hate, but I dislike it heavily. Um, and I just need a change of pace. Like I can't deal with this same opinions anymore. I want a difference in opinions. Even if it's different from my own, I want something different.
Yeah.
Right? But if the college I'm going to like gives me a full ride, but in the majority is mostly white, I'm gonna go there anyways. Like you know, it all just comes down to is like who gives me the best uh, deal, in quote.
Yeah.
So, but I always keep an open mind, benefit of the doubt that maybe their community is very different from mine, like from what I experienced. Hopefully, that there are more diverse perspectives of life
Yeah.
within that other community.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's interesting that you say that because that's actually exactly what happened to me. when I went to the community college. I had a massive culture shock on orientation day. So to give you guys perspective, right? So like Rat mentioned, we went to practically an all white school. Um, and
Yeah.
when I was there, I think like it was even less diverse than I think what Rap has right now. I think I don't want to speak for him. So
Mhm.
when I went there and I started seeing like um, Asian kids, I was like, oh my god, is that Jian? It's like, wait, no, that's just another Asian kid.
Oh goodness.
Like, no, that's another Asian kid. I saw like, what do you call that? Like, is that the hijab that people of Muslim religion?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I saw people wearing hijabs. I was like, oh my god, I never see that in my high school. Um, I saw people of like different colors. It's amazing like the different like races of people that you see. It's like, wow, I never got to experience this, and like being in an environment where like this is the case, like this is not normally something that I have ever seen, and it's definitely for me like a culture shock, and that's kind of a big deal because I that's the second time that I was culture shocked. Right, first time was when I moved to America. Everyone's different essentially. Even the Filipinos are different. Like you guys acted differently than the Filipinos that were in my home country. Like the only people that I can kind of relate to were like the parents in a sense, because
Mhm.
they're also from the home country. They're also first generation like me. But I mean, like it's pretty impressive. Like like growing up for I think 7 years in a mostly all white high school kind of gives it a culture shock. But you finally move to a very diverse sort of like um, sort of environment in a sense, and it's nice. It's nice being in that diverse, especially like if you find like other Filipinos. Like if you're Filipino, you find other Filipinos. Like in some cases, like you guys are just gonna click because it's like, oh hey, like we're probably both doing nursing or computer science. No, I'm just kidding. But
See, that's the thing that's gonna be like weird for me. So my closest friend group, we're all diverse. Like there's not one majority over the other. We have Asians, Indians, white people basically.
yeah,
So for me, it's like if I'm going into nursing, I'm mostly gonna see like a single, like not a single race, but a concentrated group of people, whether it be Asians, it could be Indians, um, Latinos, uh, Mexicans, blacks, white people, all of that.
yeah,
Like, and what's the great part? At least the most beneficial part that comes out of going to where we're from is that so our class, our school is highly regarded as a very in quotes smart school. Like the students there are way above average, and I even the dumber ones, I would say.
mm-hmm.
And going to college, having at least the shock of, oh my god, I don't have to be held up to a super high standard that I have to match everyone else around me. Because that's what I've always felt, that I need to be at least fit in academically with everyone. Be in honors classes, work hard, study hard, get good grades, right?
Yeah,
But now in college, you're surrounded by people who have either done way better than you, just as good as you, or worse than you. And to me, that's just like a big sigh of relief. It's like, wow, that is like 120 pounds off my shoulders. I don't have to live to anyone else's expectations because now no one knows me there, which is also, I guess, another part of that I'm excited for college is the, um, I forgot the word,
like
animosity, anonymous,
the
in a
the
sense.
the pressure of like the standards of like basically having to be the same as your peers doesn't exist in college. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No,
It's like
I
no one knows me.
no
I
one
get to,
no one cares. Basically,
yeah,
that's in that
no one
regard.
cares.
Yeah, yeah. Like
It's
yeah,
like a,
I think that's one of like the best parts about college. Like when I was going to high school, I never really wanted to bring Filipino food because I was afraid that people are gonna judge me, and I'm gonna see this like the same people, for the next 3 or 4 years of my life. But now that I'm in college, it's like whatever, man. I'm gonna take out my sinigang and start eating this shit in the middle of the cafeteria. I don't care. There's weirder people out there than me. Whatever. It's and that's kind of like the case. It's like, you when you go to college, like no one really cares what you do. I mean, some people still do, like some people still judge, but like those people
At
don't
that
matter.
point, it doesn't weigh as much because
Yeah,
it's a bigger community, right?
yeah, because it's like whatever. Like it's not. I'm here to get my shit done and have fun essentially, right? Like I don't have to deal with you anymore, kind of stuff. So like yeah. One thing though that I will say is that you will most likely not see any of the people that you went to high school with unless you will go to like a nearby community college, which is what I did. And so like my first class, I was like, shit, there's three people from the same high school as me in this class. What the fuck did I do wrong to register here? Um, but
Out of all the chances, out of the 40,000 people.
yeah, I was like, do I really have to meet with you guys? Whatever. Anyways, like yeah, that's kind of like the thing. It's like when it comes to like that, it's like no one cares. So you're not. Everyone's quote unquote dumber in college. Like you're like when you were like the A student back then, like that you're not gonna be the A student in college. It's well, I mean some people are, but no one
But you
really.
don't have to be. You don't
Yeah,
have to be anymore.
yeah. No one really cares. It's like oh my god, like that person gets like all A's in his class. It's like no one gives a shit. It's just do your own thing. Just that. Don't be a dick to other people. I guess that's it. That's
Hmm.
that's what it's about. Speaking of getting A's, though, let's move on to goals. So college is all about setting goals for yourself and basically trying to accomplish those goals at the end, whether it's academic or other things, essentially, right? So, in that regard, you kind of already talked about this a little bit. You said you're going to nursing, but just to kind of reiterate, uh, not just in academics, but what do you hope to accomplish at the end of your college years?
Okay. So my overall goal, man, I haven't done. Sounds like a college essay type question.
I'm,
Okay.
I'm just quizzing you like this is what like your college could ask you when you when they ask you to do the essays.
Hey man, this is beneficial. I got some ideas on what to put on some of the questions now.
Exactly.
Okay. So what I've always viewed it as is like the overall goal is just to get my degree. That is the baseline is to
Mm-hmm.
graduate with a degree, right? Just to get by. But that's just like a small goal. Like I realistically, I know that I can get it. It's not hard.
Mm-hmm.
But the overall, like the bigger goal, what I want to accomplish is that I want to establish myself. I want to be able to create who I am as a person, what I want to do with the rest of my life, and how I'm going to approach, just build my mindset, right? So I'm going to take this 3 to 4 years of my life. I'm going to grind my ass off, and I may not enjoy it sometimes. I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to start building things that will eventually be great investments in the future, like doing YouTube, um, working and doing and investing in some stuff early, right? Like I want to be able to set myself up for, let's just say 99.99% success after
Mm-hmm.
college. I want to be able to just leave college, enter the real world, and just hit the ground running. That's my main goal.
Nice. What's it called? So, what would you say? Like, kind of going more a little bit specific here. What would you say are like your top three, like priorities when it comes to like college? So you said like one of them's your degree, another one's to establish yourself. Like what? Like go like can you go a little bit more specifically as to, like your like priorities, in a sense.
Okay. Three priorities. Okay. Um,
One of them could be your degree.
all right. This is gonna be from most important to, well, not least important, but most important to important, basically.
Yeah, the third most important thing. You know.
Um, so number one is learn, borderline learn. If I'm paying a certain amount of fucking money just to get a degree, just to get a 3 year degree, a bachelor's degree,
Okay.
I'm going to learn as much as I can about that, say nursing for my major and for my planned uh, minor finance.
Yeah.
I'm going to learn as much as I can because college is about to give me a shit ton of resources to learn. So I'm going to utilize that. That's my number one priority is to learn, not study. not necessarily pass, but to learn as much as I can.
Yeah.
That's why I'm there, right? Number two, um, is I guess this is like cut in half. So basically, work on myself, which indirectly helps with socializing more. Like I want to be able to build connections and surround myself with the correct people like I have now in high school. Like I want to build at least a repertoire of connections to which maybe later after college that I can reach out, say like, hey, maybe you want to go on this business venture with me, or hey, maybe you want to enter this real estate deal with me, or do stuff like that. It's just like building connections goes a long way, at least from where I stand for what I want to do after nursing. So then third one. Well, let's see. Uh, man, I don't even know. I would probably say just maintain my hobbies, maintain my creativity. Like
Hmm.
I still want to be like I don't want to grind so hard that I just stop doing YouTube. I stop, drawing or playing video games. No, I don't want to compromise those things because those have made me who I am. They have shaped my mindset and truly just what I want to do in the future. So just never lose sight of who I am and the hobbies that I choose to engage in.
Yeah. I can definitely relate to the last part because like when I went to college, I'm like, yeah, I still want to get my degree, but like I never want to not play video games. There was a time when
Mhm.
like for like 6 months that I just didn't do, or like 4 or 5 months that I just really didn't play video games at all, or barely did. I just focused on studying. That was surreal. Like I never knew I could do that basically. Um, but yeah, no, like I think it's great that like your number one priority is still your degree because that really is should be your priority in college, right? If you're going to college and your number one priority isn't your degree, don't go to college because that's you're wasting your money and that's really what you should be doing when you're right there, right? As far as like improving yourself, like yeah, a lot of people like use their time in college to really work on other things. Some people choose to start working out in college. Some people decide to take up a hobby. You know, um, some people decide to become more social by joining extracurricular activities. It's one of those like good things about college where like everything sort of like opens up to you and it's just up to you to choose like what you want to do, right? So a lot of people choose to join organizations and what's it called? They choose to join like an organization or maybe like a club or something like that. Like if you're Filipino and you go to like I don't know U of I or something, you're probably gonna be joining. I think FIA is it called? I don't know. Just a lot of the Filipino
No
orgs.
clue.
Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, it's there's like so many things that you can do in college to really work on yourself. And I think like that's like the beauty of college. It's kind of like if it's kind of like if you're playing like an open world RPG game and you get out of the tutorial area and like everything just sort of opens up. It's like, "Oh, now I can do whatever the heck I
A
want."
12-year tutorial area. A
Yeah, so
12-year tutorial area.
now I can do whatever I want. I can go this way and complete this quest or go that way and, grind out those mobs or what, you know what I mean? It's you can do
Hmm.
whatever you want in college. Like that's kind of like going back to what I said earlier where like you have a lot of free time. You can choose that time to basically do other things. But obviously, you also want to manage it so that you're spending more time doing the things that you need to do first and then thinking about like other stuff like you know keeping my hobbies and whatnot as like a last priority thing. So a lot of people do play less video games when they're in college, unless you're going to like video game development. Then you're probably playing more video games. But there are people though who play a lot of video games in college, especially if you join an esports team. Um, Especially like if you're playing like League of Legends, some people just get addicted to that and just play that all day. Go to class, still be playing League of Legends and behind the professor's back. You'll see like different sorts of people when you go to college, man. Like I don't know how it's gonna be like now with Corona, but when I was in college, like I sat in the back and like what I saw in like people's computer screens while class was going was like a wide diversity, like as diverse as like the people that I go to school with, right? Like you have that one kid that's on Twitter all the time. You have that one guy that's like playing League of Legends somehow. You have another person who's just watching like YouTube videos. Another person's on Netflix. One person's actually taking notes and paying attention to class. You have another person who's just sleeping. Basically, it's so funny. Like that's mainly for like your gen ed classes though. Like if you're actually like in your higher up nursing, like higher up courses like nursing, you're not
Yeah,
really gonna see that. But the gen eds, like you're gonna see like the most like diverse group of people. And I don't mean like in a race kind of sense. I mean more so like in a what the hell are you guys doing kind of sense. Um,
personality, right?
yeah,
Or character.
yeah. But it's fun. It's nice. But yeah, like when it comes to like goals and whatnot, it's all about like setting your priorities. Like um, basically just making sure that you keep like number one priority in mind all the time. And when it comes to like your hobbies and your like video games and whatnot, keep that to like the very back of your mind until you like really, unless you're like taking a break or something. Like otherwise just work like keep the first two priorities first, and then the third priority much later down the line.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm gonna skip over number 5 in this one on my question, which is about like dorm life. I think I'm just gonna ask that later, maybe. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna skip over to the other one, which is kind of like transitions well over what we're talking about, and that is extracurricular. So in college, one of
Hmm.
the things that when I went to community college, right, one of the things that sort of is like the stereotype is that there's two kinds of people. One person is the one to just go to class and go home. All right, they're gonna do their homework right there, or they're gonna do their homework at the library or whatever. The other person is the type to get involved, right? They're in college. They get involved with other stuff. Um, Between those two types, which do you see yourself as? And I think you already answered this, but you know, kind of just say it again.
Hmm. Um, so just as like context, the first 2 years of my high school career, I was that person who just, does work, go home, do homework, not really hang out with people, like a loner in a sense. So I would just get by. I wasn't even taking hard classes. I would ace all of them, and I was super bored, so I wouldn't do anything, right? But, you know, some personal shit happens, and then I had like an epiphany or something. So in junior year, senior year, I decided to ramp it up a notch, right? I'm gonna get involved with a ton of clubs. I ran for board positions. I took really hard classes, and I'm just gonna say I prospered. I freaking shattered that shit, right? And so I hope that I'm gonna go into college the same way. Is that I mean the classes itself are gonna be difficult anyways. I'm not. There's no point to challenge myself anymore if I've already made it, other than if it's for my degree, right? But I'm there for the college experience. Like, um, I want to get involved. I want to meet people. I want to be able to work on my social skills more. I'm gonna get involved. I want to join clubs. Do all types of stuff. Do all types of that stuff. Um, but what you mentioned earlier, like with the whatever you call like the FISA or the like Asian group thing. Um, I don't think I'm gonna join a type of group like that.
Like not
To be
like
quite honest,
not a what's it called? Like a cultural group in a sense.
no. Well, personally, not that there's anything wrong with our culture. It's just that I don't know. I felt like not that I how do I word this? Uh, I guess to say it bluntly is that like I've had enough, right? Not in a negative sort of way. It's just like I don't know. I've grew up within this culture. I was raised with these cultural standards. It's like I don't want to join a group again because I don't know the reasons. Like personally, why people do it. Maybe it's because it's just more familiar to them to feel more comfortable or to fit in. But it's like I'm going to college. I want, and especially where we come from, this high school, is that I want to diversify. My closest group of friends is very diverse. I want to keep that going into college.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do activities like, say, student government, where you have a whole bunch of collection of students there. Maybe some like low key club where there's not a lot of people, but you get to know them, stuff like that. I just want to diversify and not be like I don't want to just sit on the sidelines and just watch everything go by. I want to be in
Yeah,
the action.
yeah. So like, kind of just respond to that. It's funny how you say that you don't want to be involved in the cultural stuff because that's also kind of like how I felt. Um, I have two reasons why I never really got involved. Well, I mean, I guess the third reason would be in the actual university that I went to, there were no cultural groups like that. I mean, there was one, but it was like I think the fee was like too high for me to join, so I was like, I'm just not gonna go through this.
Hmm.
But yeah, like I think like what's it called? I think for me, like the two main reasons that I didn't want to join, one is because I already grew up in this culture. I think more
Exactly.
so than the people, than like yeah, I think more so than like some of the people that were born here in a sense. Because I actually grew up in the Philippines, right? So it's like I've already kind of been immersed in the actual culture of growing up in the Philippines. I don't really need to, I guess, re-immerse myself in that culture. I can see like if you're missing the Philippines, like this could be, a gateway for you to meet like other Filipinos, or kind of just if you didn't really get to meet a lot of Filipinos back in high school, this could be a way for you to do that as well. Um, but the second reason why I didn't want to join, and it kind of relates to this first one, is that I personally felt that just from looking at like the outside perspective of like what people were doing in those organizations, and I could be totally wrong on this, and I will accept if that's the case, right? Especially because I'm never really involved. But from an outsider's perspective, it seems like some of these organizations are just glorifying the good parts of our culture and sort of like not really acknowledging like other parts, like the bad parts. Maybe they'll acknowledge it too as well. But I don't know. It just kind of feels like it's all for show in a sense and not as genuine as it can be. It's hard to really explain it, but like that's sort of like how I feel. Where like it feels like, well, I mean, yeah, they're doing all of this, but like, do they really understand the culture, or is it just like a display of like what you think Filipino culture is based on what your parents have told you, and not actually because you've experienced that? And then coming from someone who's been in the Philippines is like part of me wants to really say like, do you actually know our culture, or are you just doing this because like this is cool in a sense, And I could be totally
Hmm.
wrong, like this is I will admit to that. Like this is just from an outside perspective. Um, but what's it called? Um, where was I going with this? I was gonna bring up something. It's like why
Well,
like what's up?
I guess in just response while you try and jog your memory, I feel the same way. Like I feel like maybe, of course, again, I'm assuming. I don't know. I haven't done the research, but just from where I stand and what I've seen, uh, I feel like they do just highlight either the better parts of the culture. And for me, like I said earlier, I've like had enough in quotes. It's just that I've experienced a lot of bullshit from our culture, and there's a lot of it that I really don't agree with, majority, if not anything. And I'm I won't say I'm ashamed of my culture because I'm very proud to be a Filipino. We are a very prideful race of people, and that is something I truly take to heart every day. Um, but it has a lot of flaws. It is the old-fashioned way of thinking. It is not modernized or radical or in any sort of way. Which is why I would not want to be around those or those types of clubs or anything. It's just because I just need a change of pace. I'm going to college to change. If I go into college with that same group, I'm not truly gonna learn or expand my horizons, right?
Yeah, that's fair. I will say though that like I guess like now I kind of remember like what I was trying to jog on my memory for.
Hmm.
Um, one of the things that I personally, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. One of the things that I personally found very cringy that people still do to this day, and there are some people that we know that watch this, that may watch this. So if you're watching this one, I'm so sorry. Um,
All
but
right.
I found it really cringy when like people join those organizations, and then they sort of like call each other kuya or ate or a ding, Because like from where I came
Mm-hmm.
from the Philippines, it's like you'd really only call someone kuya or ate if they're a like what's it called, like really really close to you, or b their family. You don't really call like you don't really assign that to someone else, which I feel like is what they do. Um, and it's kind of like what's it called? It's kind of like what's that called? Like what from an again from an outsider's perspective, what the cool kids do in those organizations. Like it's like what you want to do if you want to fit in, because that's also like some of college, right? Like it's sometimes it's clicky, sometimes it's not, and the parts that it is clicky, it's kind of bad. Like if you want to fit in, you got to do certain things, and I feel like to fit in, you got to be like, oh, I'm gonna be your kuya, or you're gonna be my adi, and gonna. I'm like, that's low key cringy. Like not gonna lie, that's kind of cringy for me. Like I don't
Okay,
know,
okay.
man.
So
Like
in response to that, um, I 100% agree with you. Okay, I don't. That's the part where I just like, okay, that is weird, you know. Um, but to play devil's advocate, um, like my dad does this all the time to anyone he sees, or if anyone's elder, like older than him, seemingly.
yeah.
If you pass a Filipino by on the street, if we're just gonna go up to them and ask for something, they're gonna be like, kuya, or something like this. They would get their attention, kuya, and then ask him a question, right? Because the way I was taught about it is that calling them kuya or ate or tito or something like that
Mm-hmm.
is a sign of respect, right? By calling them
Yeah.
this, if you don't know their name, it's a sign of respect, and I get that.
It's a little more than
But
that, but yeah.
I, yeah, the simple version, anyways. But from where Ito is coming from, I totally agree. I'm not gonna call you kuya, which means brother, or ate, which means sister, older brother, older sister. Um, if you're not my family, or if you're not like my close friend of mine. Like I call my close friends brother, because they're basically my brothers.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna call this person kuya, you know, or this person ate. I just don't think personally it's like it's weird, you know.
Yeah. See, like, okay, it's one thing to like call like a random stranger on the street that's Filipino, and be like, "Oh, what's up, kuya?" Because like, yeah, it's giving them respect, but at the same time, if they're older, in a sense, if they're older than you, right, and especially if they're like 40s or 50s or whatever, calling them kuya, it's like you're making them feel young. Because you normally would only call someone who's older than you kuya or ate if they're sort of like younger, right? Like a young kid will call their uh their older brother kuya or their older sister ate. Like maybe if they grow up they'll still do that, but you know what I mean. Like if calling that a random stranger, it's like you're low key complimenting them to make them feel young in a sense. I'll do that, but I'm not gonna start calling like you know a person like a colleague kuya or ate for the next like 3 years, especially like if we're not that close. I guess like yeah, they'll do programs where like they get closer to each other, but at the same time, it's like man, I don't know. It's a little forced. Like I don't need this much belonging in a Filipino group for me to really experience this. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and
just
like if I'm
yeah,
gonna go there for that for that cultural club, I might as well just stay at home.
yeah.
Honestly, that's the summation.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a little bit judgmental, right? But this kind of leads into the next question. But
Mhm.
I personally feel like when people join like those types of organizations, people join them because they want to get into the party life, which is one of the easiest ways that you can get into that, right? One of the easiest ways that you can get into a party life is by joining some sort of organization, whether it's a cultural one, or let's say like another sort of like fraternity or a sorority. That's the easiest way you can get into a party life. And I feel like some people just do that because people join the Philippine organizations because there's parties. There's people host parties every single weekend. Or no, that's not true. People, it's one of the easiest ways to get into college parties, right? So I feel like some people are probably there not because they actually care about the culture, but because they're just there to party, and this is one of the easiest ways to get into that. At least that's how I feel. And again, from an outsider's perspective. Which actually leads to the next question, and that is, what are your thoughts on college party life?
Okay,
And
so
you can include like what I just mentioned, like it as part of your answer as well, like
mhm,
about Philippine organizations.
okay, so Um, like so again, from what I said in the like before earlier in the podcast, is that my main goal is to learn. I'm going there to get to my degree. Um, like one of my other goals is just to get out of there as fast as possible because I'm not there to waste time. I've paid a ton of money for this shit. And yes, I want to have fun, but I have my own ways of having fun. I'm always one to like party. I'm not one to shy away from a lot of fun or just losing my mind in the middle of like a mosh pit or something. But it's not for me. I personally think this is my take. This is like who I am. I think going to parties, the college life, like saying, "Oh, we're gonna party," stereotype or something like that, is overrated. Or not. I don't know if overrated is the right word for this, but I'll just say it. Overrated. I personally don't believe, you know, it's that all much of a big deal. It's like, oh my God, you never been to a party or you don't go to, I don't know, fucking John's house every Saturday? It's like, no, I don't, honestly. Um, I like, ideally, I just want to be able to have fun at a party. Like, I want to get to know people, talk to people, interact, maybe play some video games or something, or eat, something like that, converse, right? Like, it's cool, maybe sometimes to relieve some stress with dancing, but I'm not there to party. I'm here to just get my degree and get out. Maybe it's boring. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little too much of a, well, at least what people in my school would say, a bitch, right? Maybe so. But uh I don't know, man. I've always taken this, I don't remember who said this, but I know it's someone rich, really rich. It's like, I don't see you at the club anymore. Where'd you go? I don't know. I don't see you at the bank anymore. What happened to you? Like I take that mindset. It's like maybe it's arrogant, yes, but I have all the time in my life to party after I get out of college, after I earn my degree, get my investments and shit after that.
So to play devil's advocate though, wouldn't you say like college is kind of like one of the last few times that you could party? Um, what's it called? Uh, Not party like crazy, but like one of the best times to actually be partying in your life. Because yeah, you can like party outside of college. Like once you get out of college, like it'll be like you can still go to like clubs and whatnot to party and what to party. But it's not necessarily the same as college parties. College parties are like their own different type. Um, different vibes and whatnot. Which not it's not to say like college parties are better. I personally think like it's probably like second tier compared to like real life parties like going on in, like actual like bars in Chicago, for example. Like that's a different kind, right? Um, but you know, wouldn't you say like college is like the last time you'll be able to experience like those types of parties, like partying with people who are like around your age who are going through the same stuff as you, kind of just like living that dream of not dream but like you live in that stereotype of like wild college party nights, which is something
Um,
you'll never be able which is something you'll never be able to experience after college. At least you shouldn't. Anyways, I feel like.
okay. So the way I see it, or again, I'm only a high schooler about to go into college, so maybe my opinions will change. But as of right now, um, I kind of disagree with the notion that I won't experience this again. Right? Maybe yes, maybe you're right. I won't be able to party with people my age, or do all these sorts of fun things that maybe is exclusive to college. But I see people like Shaq. He's like, how old is he? Like, I don't know, 40, 50?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not 50, 40. Um, and he's a DJ and he has these massive mosh pits of people and he parties because he's known as like DJ Shaq Fu or something, right? Um, Another one, Rob Gronkowski. Of course, these are all famous people I'm naming, but still, case in point, they're adults and they're still partying like crazy animals, right? Um, so who's there to tell me that I won't experience this ever again? I don't agree with the statement that college is the best years of your life. I don't agree with that. Like, um, so much for being open-minded. There's no way you can convince me that these 4 to 3 years are going to be the best years of my life. Because they can be the shittiest ones for some people, right?
True. True.
Um, And plus, again, for who I am, I'm not a party type person. Um, I like to party, you know, I won't shy away from it, but if I personally get to choose to go to the gym or party, I'm gonna go to the fucking gym. I'm just saying. So,
Different kind of bar.
mhm, exactly.
Nice. Um, so we're actually in the 1 hour mark. So I feel like we should probably wrap this up soon. We're about an hour 10 minutes. Uh, so I kind of want to lead into the last question. So we've talked about college this entire time, right? But there's also some people that choose not to go to college and instead pursue a different path of life. Some people choose to go into business. Some people choose to go into like maybe just an associates and just work from there. Some people like for nursing, right? Like they just choose to take a CNA class and then just work as a CNA for pretty much the rest of their life, in a sense. Um, so in that regard, um, I guess, what's your opinion on people who choose not to go? What's your opinion on the path of like not going to college, of just kind of like doing your own thing and not really going to a 4 year university, because that's a standard that we have. That's the standard of that most people have. Like once you graduate high school, you got to go to college, but some people obviously don't. And so what are your thoughts on that?
That's my response. I applaud you, whoever chooses to not be a cog in the machine, right?
Yeah.
So I'm currently writing a paper for college writing that's like, what is the biggest issue of education today? And though I didn't say this in my paper, I just have this in my mind is that education is no longer like correlated to success later in life. Just because you go to college and have some fancy degree from Harvard or Yale or some shit, right, doesn't mean you'll be successful in life. Elon
Mm-hmm.
Musk, for example, he didn't, you know, he didn't go to some advanced like school or something, some prestigious school, but the people who work for him did, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's so many people out there who have made it in life without going to school, all because of like the advancements, excuse me, in the internet, right? You can learn anything now. Grant Cardone, for example, if you don't know, he's a very successful real estate investor who is very open to share his ideas. Like, he started at the age of like 34, right? With nothing, basically broke. And now, 15-ish years later, he has a net worth or has accumulated over $1 billion in real estate. Keep in mind, he didn't go to school for real estate or whatever. He didn't have a degree in economics, but that degree eventually led him to some unfortunate circumstances in his life where he was almost dead. He had a gun pointed at his head, stuff like that. Like, so I believe that with everything out there today, social media, YouTube, Instagram, the internet, online courses, investing courses, stuff like this, you do not need to go to college if you think you don't have to. For jobs like doctors, engineers, scientists, yes, you do, and I believe that firmly. But if that's not your thing, if you believe it's a waste of money, and I believe it is a waste of money as well, um, in some cases, yeah. But you do not need to go to college.
Do you
Okay,
think do you think there's a right path to go to? Like, is it the right path to go to college, or is it the right path to not go to college?
there is no right path. Um, I believe that no matter where everyone is, we are all going to end up in the same place, which is kind of 6 feet under or burned to ash and then spread across somewhere, right? So everyone has their own journey. Everyone has their own little hardships and struggles, right? There's you there's so many opportunities out there. There's so many things you can do to improve your life or to go about your life that there is not one path to success. It is a forever winding road, and some people may not even get there to the end goal. But those people who just try, just do what they want to do, follow their dreams with the full motivation and full action, complete action, are farther along in life than those who have earned a degree and have worked for 30 years of their life. And not to say that's bad, right? Maybe some people do want that, but personally, I think that um, chasing your dreams, doing what you want, and possibly not even might not even get it, but at least trying, going on your own path is way better than following the one laid out for you.
So to kind of play devil's advocate, though, wouldn't you say that chasing your own dreams is an option for those who have the privilege to chase their own dreams, and that some people don't?
It is definitely a privilege to have the opportunity to do what you want.
Yeah.
My family is lucky enough to have moved to America and have a job here. I am lucky enough to grow up here and have a proper education and have the chance to go to college. So it is definitely an opportunistic event. Not everyone can chase their dreams, and that is the harsh reality.
Yeah.
You will not be able to do what you want when you want it, how you want it. But you play the cards you're dealt. You do the best with what you have. You just roll with the punches.
So
So
for those people, would you say that college would be like the better option for them instead of quote unquote chasing their dream?
no, I will not. Um, there's a lot of people out there who can't afford this education, and maybe once they get out of college, they might even like you have a piece of paper, but does that really certify you to work this certain job? Does me getting a BSN really certify me on becoming a nurse? Maybe, if I'm the type of person who actually listens to class.
Yeah, no,
But
that's yeah.
um, like I don't. There's a lot of dumb individuals, or very yeah, I'll just say dumb individuals out there who have a degree, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they could just be really good at playing the game of education. For example, there's a ton of classmates in my grade who are really smart, right?
Right.
Really smart. They play the game. They're good at doing schoolwork, but when they go out into the real world, they have no street smarts, right?
Yeah.
So,
But what I'm saying though is that like for the people who don't have the privilege of chasing their own dreams, would you say that college is the better option then, or should they still try to like chase that dream, like chase like the
mm,
yeah
no, no. Either way, I don't think so. In today's world, everyone. Okay, so here, I'll say this. Um, if you are in like some other, like you have some existential problems, right? Some other problems that we don't know about, yeah. But on the average person who is given a choice in America or in any other, free country, right?
but isn't a free country a privilege though?
Well, yeah, of course it is. This is what I'm saying. This is very opportunistic. Like it's very selective.
Yeah.
Um, but let's just say average person or someone who has a choice, one or the other, and they don't really have the opportunity to chase their dreams. So if they want to succeed further in life, I do not believe that college is the right way. Like, yes, it'll increase your income, but right now, currently, there are ways you can get like a certification of work for like in a much quicker time. And with the access of internet, you can go to any cafe, any library. You have access to all these materials, which can help um, aid you in what you want to do. You can learn anything, absolutely anything now, basically for free or for some price in the internet. And that that is why I do not think that college is always the best choice. Maybe it is, but it is not always the only choice.
Hmm. Do you think it's do you think there's ever a time when college is the only choice for a person, or is there always going to be a choice outside of college?
If there was a time, I would say like probably in the 20th century, mid 20th century, like 1950s. Then,
But
um,
nowadays you don't think so.
no, I do not.
Hmm.
There's too many successful individuals out there. Um, that have proved that education is no longer king.
Right. But I mean, wouldn't you say though that the amount of people who are successful in that regard is very few. Like we all like to point at like Elon Musk or even someone like Mark Zuckerberg, who is technically a Harvard dropout. Um, like
Mhm.
there's a lot of these people that have succeeded very much without the help of college in a sense. But the amount of people who actually succeeded like that is very few.
Uh-huh.
So I guess what I'm trying to get at is that um, again to play another devil's advocate, wouldn't you say like yeah, even though people can like learn stuff for free online, would that really be like the best option for them if for like the degree that they're trying to earn, or for like not the degree but like for the skill set that they're trying to earn, would that really be the best path in a sense to get a good job to actually earn some money?
Um,
Like what if they don't succeed in that regard? That's what I'm trying to say.
well, so I am very positive and I'm like I have big goals, I have huge goals that I want to achieve. So I'm always my mindset is very much so biased. But yes. So if you want to increase your income, go to college, get a job. But are you really free at that point? Yes, millions and millions of other people in the past have just went through this cycle and have survived. But for me, I'm the eldest sibling. I'm the first generation to technically grow up here and have the chance to earn more money here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my goal is to be able to provide just for everyone. Maybe it's an unrealistic goal. It probably is, but from where I stand, I don't care. I will do everything in my power, in my body, every fiber to complete that goal, right? So from where I stand is that truly, if you do have the opportunity to do whatever you want, whatever goal you want, to get a job, increase your income, start a business, whatever, go for it. If you have the opportunity, even the slightest chance of it succeeding, go for it. Because to ask you this question, if you had the choice to do what you want, even if there's like a slight chance, like say to do streaming full time
Mm-hmm.
and have only the slightest chance of it working out, would you do it?
Hmm.
I have a follow-up question after you answer this too.
That's actually very difficult for me to answer because like kind of like you, I kind of grew up in that mentality of like um, you should go for with like the most stable. Um, I grew up being taught to basically choose like the most stable path for you in the end, right? Because like like chasing your dreams doesn't necessarily mean that you'll get, or at least from my point of view, chasing your dreams doesn't necessarily mean that you'll end up in a place where you'll be set for life. Like you might end up in a
Of
really
course
bad,
not, no.
you might end up in a really bad place. You might not have a
You're
lot of.
taking a big risk, yes, but
Yeah, you're
would you
taking
do
big
it?
risks. Um, I mean, to kind of answer your question, I probably would not unless I have the fallback to not get hit as hard by chasing my dreams, basically.
Okay, so here,
Yeah.
follow-up question real quick. Say right now, so you remember this choice, you're like near your deathbed, like you're on your deathbed, you're almost about to die,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then just assume that you lived your life and you're just reminiscing now. Would you regret your decision then of not going for it?
I mean, I'll probably have some regrets, but I think it depends on really like what happens to me after the decision, right? So if I chose the stable lifestyle and I end up relatively stable, good family, good house, whatever like that, like end up having like a nice paying job that I can still do whatever I want on the weekends, that kind of stuff. I think in the end I'm gonna be like, well, yeah, I didn't get to live out my dream, but at least I lived a stable life. I didn't end up in the worst case scenario, which is dirt poor on the street. Like basically like unachieved dreams because I failed to do my dreams and whatnot. Yeah, I didn't get to do my true passion, but at the same time, I still got to live a life worth living. So I think I won't have a regret in that sense. I
Hmm.
think. I don't know. I won't know until like I'm in my deathbed.
Of course.
So I'll get you back. I'll get back to this question in about 85 years. Then
Okay.
I'm gonna call you. And
If
be
we
like,
make it.
I'll be like, rap. So I kind of fucked up on that choice. But no, I mean, it's that's a tricky question, but I think like it just comes down to like what do you value at the end of that, right?
Of course.
Do you value your dreams more than practical stability or living a nice simple life, or do you value just living? That's I guess that's just that's what I'm that's what I'm getting at. And like honestly, like in my opinion, right, neither path is wrong. I think like
Hmm.
either path, which whenever you decide to choose, as long as you make it a life worth living, that's kind of like I don't know. I think that would be the right. I think that's really the right choice.
Yeah,
But we're
that's what it
we're
boils down to.
we're getting
What is the
really
best choice for you?
yeah, we're getting really deep here. Like this turned from like college like philosophy 102 basically or 201, second level philosophy level. So I think that's a good time to stop the episode for today. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, and I hope if you're going to college and you kind of like saw some of these opinions, I hope that some of these stick to you, and I hope that you guys at least learn something out of this. But thank you again, guys, again so much for watching. I'm your host, Itoy. Rap.
Yep. Thanks so much, guys. This was a fun one. I like this one for sure.
Yeah, it's a nice long talk. So we'll try to get something lighthearted next week, so it's not as always serious every single time.
Hopefully not. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's finally time to unpause the game, or at least in this case, I already had it unpaused. But yeah, this is Sekiro, guys. I've been playing that, yeah. Well, see you guys later. Bye.
Peace.